Hello, welcome in Astro Codes of Life. So as promised, I promised to focus on what influences are we going to expect for each and every zodiac sign, but only for the first, let's say, 3 to 5 degrees of each and every zodiac sign. And today we are going to focus on Aries. So if you have any placement in Aries, whether it's a planet or an axis of your horoscope, so you have to know, you have to check it. If you are Aries from the beginning of the sign, so if you have Sun in that very position, that would be a very significant period of life for you for sure. But if you have any other important planet, another planet, or any other axis that's ascendant or medium celi associated with this very point of horoscope, yes, you can experience extreme amount of energy flowing through that very point in zodiac. So let's see what sort of energies can we expect for these placements and how to work with them. And as usually, if you want a consultation, like on the strip upstairs, check out my telephone number and just send me a text on WhatsApp. If you try to call me, I'm not gonna answer on my mobile phone, just WhatsApp messages, okay? There's lots of scammers working in Europe and United States probably as well, so yeah, WhatsApp is the only means of communication with myself. So let's get to the horoscope, and I will become tiny so you can see my desktop. 1 second. Okay, I will become much smaller, and let's get rid of the ad on the top of the screen. So this is the very beginning of Aries, where everything is actually happening right now in the sky. This is a horoscope for the beginning of August, but don't really mind that, because this construct that I'm gonna show you is gonna last for a couple of months. It's gonna repeat itself, but in the summer this year, that's gonna be easiest to spot, let's say, in the sky in the horoscope. So let's see what sort of a construct do we have affecting the very first degree of Aries in summer 2025. And as I said, it's gonna repeat that. This pattern is going to repeat itself. It's not going to be as exact as it is, but then again, Saturn, so this is this planet, and Neptune, this planet, are not going to experience conjunction as conjunction. There's going to be like tens of degrees before Saturn goes retrograde, and actually these planets are not going to experience a conjunction. That is going to happen in, I think, February 2026. So we have to forget about it for a while, and let's see what sort of interaction this point of horoscope has. I have to remind you that the first degree, the 000 of Aries, is so-called the world point. This is the constant ascendant that we would have. So some calculations in horoscopes are being done from this point using other planets and axes in the horoscope. So this is the most modern way of calculating the Arabic points, that they are going to be calculated from the 0 degree of Aries, not from the moment ascendant. So let's see what we have here. So first of all, apart from this conjunction of, let's get back to the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune first of all. So Saturn is the planet of limitation, form, and discipline. So if only Saturn was visiting this point in your horoscope, it would simply mean that a Sun, if your Aries from the first degrees of Aries, so your identity is going to get tested. But that it really depends what you have in your horoscope in this very region. If it's Venus, for example, maybe This is the love life that is going to get tested, and your love life identity. So this is the planet of limitations, tests, a teacher, a timekeeper that is going to affect this very area. But in the same time, a planet that has quite a different meaning in astrology, that's Neptune, is going to meet this god of time and discipline. And Neptune is the god of dreams, like the Sandman from the teleshow Sandman, the god of dreams, illusions, but also unconditional love and mysticism, elevation of your consciousness. So these two planets are going to meet. So reality is going to meet dreams. When you combine them, it's like combining, let's say, a container and a gas or liquid. So technically speaking, dreams, ideas, and mysticism should take a form, like a bottle or a bucket where you can shape the water or gas to your needs, depending on the container. So, but then again, if you contain dreams and illusions and mysticism in a container, technically speaking, it stops being limitless. So these are the limits that are going to be put on the dreams. And again, it is very similar to what was happening with Canada and Mexico and Greenland, where in the same time borders are being dissolved. So technically speaking, Americans want to take in Canada, Greenland, and on the other side, they are trying to border themselves from influx of illegal aliens, as they call them, as you call them. Maybe you're an American watching that video. So in the same time, dissolving of the container and containing of the uncontainable in the container. So that's a tricky aspect on its own for the whole world. But if you have a planet in that placement, it is going to be quite difficult to navigate, to test the identity of that point in your horoscope, and in the same time to dissolve your identity in that horoscope, the placement of something that you have in your horoscope, and contain it. So on its own, a balance is needed, a way to finding balance between uncontainable, Neptune, and very containable, very realistic stuff. And then, in the same time, we have Mars opposing this conjunction in Aries. So on its own, Mars is an initiator, is the aggressor, is the first fire, first spark. And Mars is not feeling too good in Libra. And because Libra is the mother of balance, harmony, and in a way, diplomacy and communication. So if we get Mars into that sort of world, Mars is not feeling too good. Mars likes to shout out what he needs as fast as possible to initiate the process. But in the world of diplomacy, if you speak to another person, even if you don't like that person, you usually lie. When they ask you how you're doing and you're doing terrible, you'll tell them, I'm fine, thanks. So this is sort of that energy that is sending. And on its own, Mars in Libra needs balancing, needs to find balance between shouting out your truth and diplomacy that you would be expected from the society. And this energy interacts with the energy where you're looking to contain your dreams and dissolve the borders around you. So that's a very difficult period of time for a person that has any placements in these very first, let's say, 3 to 5 degrees of Aries in their horoscope. But that's not everything, because in the same time, Pluto is sextiling this very point in horoscope And sextile in general is an easy to grasp and easy to understand aspect. And Pluto in Aquarius is a revolution, is a deep state entering the world of revolution. So deep state is going to be revolutionized all over the world, and in the same time surveillance, let's say, technologies are going to get more technological, more advanced. AIs of many different sorts and types from many different countries and for many different purposes. But then again, this is the Industrial Revolution 2.0. So technically speaking, we should expect much less manual labor performed by regular people. In short, but this sort of energy is going to be sent. A harmonious aspect of this energy is going to send to this very first point of Aries as well. So if you have some placement, on one hand, you will need to find balance again between your limitations, your identity of that point of horoscope, whether it's Jupiter, maybe that's going to be how you expand, how are you getting gains in your life, but then you're going to get limitations in the same time with dreams and illusions, and in the same time you will want to shout out to the world what you really mean, what you really want to say, but then the world will limit you to act within the diplomatic way of communication. And then again, you'll be sent this very deep, very strong energy from Pluto in Aquarius, giving you extra energy to that very point in your horoscope. But that's not everything. In the same time, Uranus in Gemini is doing the exactly same, almost exactly the same thing as Pluto does, because there is a difference between the sextile, the opening sextile and the closing sextile. So the sextile after conjunction and sextile before conjunction. So usually sextile after conjunction is, let's say, a harmonious process of initiating how to get fruits from the whole cycle. In Pluto's case, that would be 247 years, 43 years, and in Uranus' case, that would be 80 years to do the whole circle around the horoscope. So while Pluto in Aquarius is expected to start getting fruits of all these new technologies and this technological revolution, especially for the deep state, Uranus is just starting, is opening the world of the new technologies in communication, in data handling. So there is going to be massive revolution, and this communication and technological revolution is going to send you loads of energy into the same point again, to the first point of Aries in your horoscope. But this is not everything. So the next thing, we have to have a look at Pluto, Uranus, and Mars. Mars is going to be in that position for just a couple of days. So the biggest advice here would be, do not crack and do not release this energy without control. That's going to be a couple of days. Hopefully all of the individuals in the world, not only the ones watching this video, will manage to do the diplomatic communication and expression of their emotion, not the Martian style, when they just crack and destroy everything in their path. So looking at this setup, these three rings, so we are going to have trine between Uranus and Mars, trine between Mars and Pluto, and trine between Pluto and Uranus. So that construct on its own is full of explosive energy. Think of Uranus as the uranium, the element, Pluto as plutonium, the element, and Mars as, let's say, iron, and they are in a very, very harmonious setup. This is probably the most harmonious setup that you can have a trine in your horoscope. So it is so good that it is in the very same time very easy. So this energy is easy to grasp. And usually people who they have trines in their horoscope, whether it's in natal or in transit or progress chart, they would take it for granted that this energy is coming in a very nice way and they don't have to do anything. So people become lazy if they experience trines often in their horoscope. So if you're lazy, usually there is not too much development in your life. But the day any problems come, because you were so lazy your whole life, you were getting, let's say, money and wealth all the time, when you get bankrupt one day, you don't know what to do, and this is the end of the world for you. While people that had to work hard, had to try to make a living for 20 years, when there's a hard times coming, they will always get through it somehow. But again, if you know how to use these harmonious energies, if this is extremely massive potential, as I said, uranium, plutonium, and iron. So uranium and plutonium, you know what these elements are being used for. And iron, of course, as a weapon as well. So these three planets in this setup together, they make each and every planet stronger, because Uranus is getting energy from Pluto and from Mars. Mars is getting energy from Uranus and Pluto. Pluto is getting energy from Uranus and Mars. And these three planets irradiate this one point in your horoscope if you're watching it. So first degrees of Aries. So that accumulation of energy is something similar. I gave this example already in one of my videos, that let's say that you're looking for something in your garage and the lights went off. You remember where the screwdriver was, but you're looking for the screwdriver almost in blind conditions. At this stage, you decide to go to your neighbor to borrow a flashlight, but he does not have one. He has just one massive spotlight, like the ones used in World War II for shining on the planes in the sky. He said, I'll get you my spotlight. You're gonna find a screwdriver in no time. He sets it up, turns it on, and it turns out that it is so bright right now that you can't really see anything.